Hi everyone, it's Sandy. Thank you for joining me here on my channel. I don't know if you've noticed, but I changed my YouTube name from Septeria18 to Septeria's Room. I thought I would just change my name slightly just to make it all the same with all of my other platform. That way it's easy to find. So my Instagram is also Septeria18. My Instagram is also Septeria's Room. My Etsy store is Septeria's Room, and I've also added my YouTube channel and changed that to Septeria's Room as well, from Septeria18. I just thought it'd be easier that way for you to find the platform that you may want to find me. So I hope it's not a hard name to pronounce. Septeria is my birth name that my parents gave me, and I was born in September, so they just sort of abbreviated and shortened it to Septeria, and the 18 was the day that I was born, which in actual fact my birthday was yesterday, Septeria 18. So I just thought I'd just change it up, so in case you're wondering the name change. And I want to also come on here and share with you my latest projects that I've been making from my latest digitals that I also shared with you in my one of my recent videos. And it's just 5 pages, and they are the Floral Collage Background pages. Really lovely colors. They're sort of blue tones with pink, sort of a cottage shabby sort of feel patterns to the background sheets. And I wanted to just show you some projects that I made. And if you did purchase the kit in my Etsy store, thank you very much for purchasing this kit. I hope you had fun making any of your projects with it, or if you want to have a look at the projects that I've made for some inspiration, that would be another way for you to make some projects with that. These are just a really lovely patterns, and I made them in a way so that you can have them cut in different directions that you may want to use the patterns. So you could have it sort of that way or that way, that way. So anyway, there is no particular direction for each pattern, and it's just great to use for whatever you like, and you can cut them wherever you want. You may be able to just cut a piece of this one, or maybe this one, or anything you want. So there are a few ways that you could use these background patterns for your projects. And then there is also this one here that I made into a collage with some wood paneling and some lace. And so I want to show you my projects, and I'll do a tutorial with one of them. And I've also got a sneak peek to show you of my next digital collection, which will coordinate with this kit. And I'm just finishing the rest of the collection, and then I'll have it released and have it in my Etsy store, and I'll also show it to you here on my channel. But this is just a sneak peek of some of the pages, so you can see it's similar to the color tones that I've used for the Floral Collage Background. So this is one of them. This one's a completed one, and then there is this one. Just beautiful colors. I love the soft pinks, and then there's a journaling kit in there with an envelope, some tags and pocket, which you could make all of this with the envelope. And I'm going to show you once I've completed the kit how you can make this and put it together. There are some cutter parts for you, some fussy cutting page. There'll be a couple, maybe 2 or 3 fussy cut pages, and you could collage these or add these into your projects. And there is another background sheet, but I've got another 5 more pages to finish off, and then I'll have these ready for you. But these will work well with these patterns background. And I've also made some projects with the new kit, and I'll show that to you once I've finished off the collection. But let me show you the projects that I've made with the floral background collage. So let me just, so this one here, this is like a multi-pocket pouch. I made 3 of these. I just had a lot of fun making them because they were so easy to make. And you can make these in any width that you like, and you could make this without a scoreboard and just fold them to your measurements, and I'll show you how to do that. And then I also made a vellum window using a circle punch in the front pocket. I just thought it was just a cute way to add that to the front, and you can have a little sneak peek what's inside the front pocket. So these are the ones that I've made, and I double-sided the papers and printed on both sides of the copying paper, so I've got 2 different patterns, so that way you could see the different patterns. And I'll just show you. This is the tutorial that I'll show you once I share with you the other projects. And so this is the one I completed and added some embellishing with some trim and lace and seam binding, added some gold flat back embellishments and some trim lace, some gold. It's like a gold sticker strips that I have, and I just stuck that on the top there and then embellished that side. And so it opens up like that, and then there is a front pocket, and I just placed some ephemera pieces. These are from my previous digitals that I also have in my shop. And there's another little tag also from one of my digital collections. And so this is the pocket here. This is just inside there. So that's one pocket. And then there is another pocket here in the middle, or behind that one. And this is a match booklet that I also made in one of my other videos using one of my other digitals. And just added like a little note card and did some stamping there. So this is another digital kit of mine, and that was a perfect fit to go in there. Then there was a 3rd pocket at the back, and I made a fabric collage piece that I had laying around, and I just cut it up so I could fit it in here, just so you could see the pocket. So that's the back. And I just use 90 GSM paper weight for these pockets. So that's this one. And then I did punch out the circle part, and when I made that, I was going to make a belly band. Just trying to find where I put the circle piece. I did have it. I was going to, sorry, I was just looking for it on my other desk because I did have it. I wanted to put it in the front here and punch out 2 holes. I'll do it in this video, and then add some string and keep that as a closure. I was just trying to find the piece. I did have it. I don't know where it's gone. I'll do it when I do the tutorial, but these are the ones that I made, so I like these pockets. They're a good size. You can also slide this inside your journal page or in your journal, and then just keep this like a floating pocket pouch to add all your ephemera pieces in here when you want to use them to decorate your journals. I also made these tags using my embossing folder, and embossed some white paper, and then I glued it to the back of some plain white cardstock so that you could write, or I could write a note on the back of the tag, or just somewhere to write so that it's easy to write on, so there's no bumps. And I made these ruffled sort of layered flowers using just tearing into a circle and layering them up, scrunching them up, and then I just glue that to the front of the tag. I did some stitching with my sewing machine added a little charm dangle just to pretty the tag up a bit, and used some twine to create as a tag part. And I had some crochet doily, and I just cut it up and just place that on the top. And I think it's really pretty when it's all done. And then these are just what they call, like a cheesecloth. And so I made 2 of those. So it's pretty simple. If you don't have an embossing folder, just if you have some white cardstock or plain cardstock paper, cut it up into a rectangle, angle cut the corners, and then you can make these flowers. I'll do one of these in this video. I'll make the flowers. I don't know if I'll make the tag, but we'll see how we go with time. And I'll make these flowers. I have made these in my other videos, but I wanted to use my digitals to make these ruffled layered flowers. This has got a butterfly charm. It's really pretty, and it just looks nice and fresh with the white colors. And these make great little gifts if you want to make these. Really, really fun to make. So that's those. And I just made some more simple little white tags with white cardstock with some of the scrap pieces I had laying around, and just glued it to the top of the tag just to add some pattern paper to the plain white cardstock. I punched out a heart with a heart punch that I had on the corner, and then the heart piece I glued it to the top in the middle there, pierced a little hole and added some crochet string to the top. And I also did some stitching around the edge. And I like how the stitching is not perfect. I think when it's imperfect, it looks more handmade and more, has a bit more character to the project. Like these. These are really simple. You can make a bunch of these really easily. So there's a couple of smaller tags. And I also couldn't help myself. I made a small mini journal. Just a simple journal, nothing too overly complicated or too busy. This is the journal that I made. It's just a nice palm-sized journal. Really easy to put together. It's just using whatever you have. And with the cover of this journal, all I used were envelopes, or an envelope. I didn't come prepared with myself. I haven't got my envelope, sorry. Let's see if I've got one here. Okay, I'll just grab what I've got here. And I tea stained these envelopes a while back. These are my not so great tea stained envelopes. So I just use this as my prototype when I'm making a project. So I use the envelope for the cover of my journal, and I'll just quickly show you. I use some twine. Been using twine quite a bit now to use as a closure for my journal. I like that natural rustic look to the journal. And then I cut out a piece of doily from a doily cloth, and I just ran the twine through the 2 holes on each end. Just put them to the side, and all I done was I just go like that and just fold it over in half, and then these are the string to use, and then you just tie it up. It also decorates the cover and also decorates the back. So I just use that instead of just using the twine on its own like that. I think having one of these makes it more pretty and gives it a more shabby look to it. So I'll just give you a quick flip through of my journal, and then I'll show you how to make the pocket pouch. And I just added a satin ribbon to the top corner, added some trim, some flat back pearls, and I stapled the booklet. I didn't stitch it or any other way. I just quickly did a booklet and stapled the center of the booklet with a stapler, and then I covered it up, and I'll show you the inside. So I just covered it with some lace here. I like doing that. It pretties up the cover. And then there is a pocket up here, and I made some couple of note cards with the same collection paper, and then some embossing paper and a piece of paper book page, and just collaged this to make it into a note card. Did some zigzag stitching around the edge, so this would make a great little spot for some journaling or to document something in your journal. So there is a pocket up here, and I'll show you the inside quickly. So this is the cover. So if I open this up, there is a pocket down here as well. So this is a pocket, and there is a pocket. And the cover, I'll show the back. This is the other side of the cover. So this is the book pages, and there's a pocket there as well. So this is another collage note card, same as the one in the front that I made with the same digital papers and embossing paper and a book page. And that goes in there. And there is a pocket there and a pocket here. So you can see this is the envelope. This is one of my envelopes. And you can make this in any size envelope. I just had the smaller one, and I want to make a small mini journal. And it's actually this way. So this is the bottom part here, if you can see. That's the bottom part. And then the top part, I just trimmed it off just on the edge, so it creates an opening on the top, and then it gets folded that way, and that becomes your mini journal cover. You'll get the pocket up here and get a pocket here, and then at the back is another pocket up here and this pocket. So that's the envelope. It's like an upside down envelope instead of that way. And then once you add all your pages, you just fold all your pages and papers to however you like to layer them. And then you go to the middle of your page, which in my case is this one. So if you just eliminate this piece for now, what I've done was I then just put them all together and then stapled and two staples, one up there and one there, and that gives you your booklet journal with your cover. And because you're going to see the staple in the middle, I then grabbed another piece of paper, and this is an embossed paper that I had, and I just did a fold, but not all the way. I sort of went halfway over to make one little bit not as wide as this one, and then glued that. I'll show. I glued this side across there on the side here and the bottom. Then I just glued that to the side here, and that covers up the staple. So you can see, you can't see the staple now. And I made this into a tuck pocket. I can do a video if you want to see how I put one of these together. Just leave a comment down below and I will redo another one of these little mini pocket journals, because these are really fun and make a good little gift. These would make a good weekly journal or booklet, notebook, whatever you would like to use it for. And I can show you how to put one together. So that's just a neat way to do it, and then you don't see the staples on this side either. So I just use an envelope. And if you have a larger envelope, you can also make it into a larger size journal. This was a card from my granddaughters for my birthday. I kept this envelope and the card I've got in displayed in my lounge room. And this is a nice size too, so it's a slightly bigger than this one. And I can use this to make another journal and do the same thing and fold that over, and then I can just cover the front. And this will give me a slightly larger size journal. And then I'll just cut that up at the top there to create an opening. So I can do the same with that. So keep all your envelopes and you can make these fun covers. I'll just give you a quick flip through just to show you what I made. So I made those 2 note cards as well with the digitals. This is one of the digital papers. I glued that to the envelope to make the cover. And then there is this pocket, and these are some of the journaling fussy cut pieces from my Floral Whispers digital kit. And in the Floral Whispers kit, there is a file tab folder that you just cut around, and you create yourself a nice cute little mini folder, and you can use that to do some writing. And I thought that would be a cute place to add that in one of the pockets there, and it fits in there nicely too. Some tea stain paper that I have, I just cut that up to fit the size of the envelope. This is one of my note papers from a notepad. I tea stained that, added a trim to one of the next pages, just with some lace just to decorate the edge there. It's another note paper. I did some stamping on one of my tea stain paper, and that just comes out, another good spot for me to do some writing. This is the book page, and I just cut the book page as well to fit inside the cover. Some more tea stain paper. This is a digital that I have. It's an old letter. Some more. This is a ledger sheet that I have. I've got a full book of a ledger book that I found in the market, and I had to quickly grab it and purchase that ledger booklet. So I just also cut this piece. This is an old one. I think this is a 1938. I can't remember. I have to have a look at the book. But it's another page. This is one of the digital papers. This is the embossed paper that I have, and then I made that into a side tuck pocket. So this is the other side of the digital paper. This is now the other side to that ledger piece. And I just added a piece of crochet snippet to the edge here, and I just stapled that to the page. And I didn't want to see the other end of the staple, so I just added some lace and covered that up there, and just had that little piece sticking out on the corner so that it looks pretty there. And this is another one of my digitals, another journaling card. I backed that onto some tea stain paper, so it just makes it a bit more sturdy. And attach that with a paper clip. Then I made a cute little dangle to decorate the top of the page. Some more trim, I just glued that to the bottom corner. If you don't have any tea stain paper, you can just use white paper. You can distress it with some ink and then just sort of rub it on there to give it that stain look, so you can do that. There's no rules, I think, to making any journal. You make it to how you like it, add whatever papers you want in there. And that's the other pocket at the back, and I just added another crochet trim to the front of the pocket. That's the other pocket at the back. I like making these journaling note cards, and they make great gifts. You can make a ton of these. Just cut your cardstock or craft cardstock paper, cut them to whatever size you like, grab all of your digital scrap pieces of papers, and you can just layer them and make it into a collage. If you have a sewing machine, you can stitch around it. You could just add some trim around the edge, or just leave it. I think these make great extra gifts, and you can make a bunch of those, or even just for yourself to tuck in your journal. And that's the back. So this was a fun little journal to make using an envelope as your cover. So I'm going to show you how to make the pocket pouch. Really easy, and it's really quick. No scoreboard. I'm just going to fold and measure it with our eyes. Right, so what you're going to need, grab one of your digitals or one of the digitals from this collection. or you can use scrapbook paper if you're not into digitals and you like to use your scrapbook papers, double-sided papers, any paper you like, you can use. But you want a paper that's going to have at least a good length going up. 12-inch in height would be perfect. This is probably about 11 inches. I'm not even sure the height because I've got A4 size paper that I printed my digitals. If you've got a letter size, it will be a little bit shorter, but it will still work. It might just be a little bit different in height size, but you can play around with it, it will still work. So what we're going to do first, you are going to obviously cut around the white bit and remove that, go around and cut that. And so I printed them on back and front. This one hasn't got it. And I printed two background sheets. You can make it with just the one paper. You can make it with the one paper and just use and double print it. Because what you're going to do is when you cut it out, we're just going to fold that in half. And I wanted two different patterns for the pocket pouches, so I printed it two, but you can just use one and use both of the pieces that you're going to cut in half. So when you cut in half, you'll get two. So these are two different patterns. And so what we're going to do first, cut that in half. So if you have a letter size, it will probably be a little bit shorter than an A4 size. And what we're going to do next, if you want to make a vellum window with a circle punch, you can use any size punch. I used a 1.5 inch circle size. You can use a 1 inch, it's going to be a little bit smaller, but it's fine. You can still do that. You can make punch two circles. Or if you don't want to, you don't need to add that window. We can just leave that and you can skip this part. So the first thing you want to do is, so this is going to be the front pocket. You're going to decide which top and bottom you want as your front pocket, because you're going to fold it up that way. So this will be the front pocket that's going to be shown here. So just decide which one you want, because all the patterns are so pretty that I found it really hard to decide myself which one I wanted as the front when I was making the pocket pouch. So that's probably the hardest part, is deciding which one you want. So, and then you're going to have this part as your closure part on that same paper. So when you go like that, that's going to be the window part, and then this part is the closure. So you just want to have a look and see if that's how you like it. And I'm going to go ahead with this one and go this way. And then this one will be the inside pocket. So let's just go ahead and you can just see how it looks. It's actually easier than me explaining it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, because I want this as a cover, I'm going to punch a hole or a circle in the middle and going a little bit past the top edge so you've got enough room to, so I'm just going to punch that out. Then I've got this piece. I'm going to keep that to the side. That's the piece I couldn't find on my desk. I just put that to the side because you can use this for a little tag, swing tag, or whatever you like. So now I'll punch that circle. That's going to get placed that way. So I'm going to close up the window now with some vellum. You can use tracing paper, whatever you like, some clear. If you have some clear sheets from like a packaging seal bag, you can also use that. And now I'm just going to cut the piece of vellum just enough to cover the window. So let's just do that. Give myself a bit of room. So I've got enough to. And now I'm just going to glue the inside of the edge of the circle. This is how I do it. Some of you may do it different to me. And then I'll glue on all four sides. And then just going to drop it in. Actually give me a window in the front. You can see now it looks like a window. That was easy to do. And now what we're going to do here, we're going to just fold this up, and you just want to fold it as high up as you want and decide how deep you want that front pocket. I'm just going to keep mine about there. So I don't want it a really deep front pocket, just a pocket that's a little bit not as deep. So I can put some smaller tags in there or smaller note cards. So I'm happy with that. Then you're going to grab your other piece. This is the other fun part, or the hardest part, is deciding which side you want showing as your pocket. So if you're going to go up like that way, that's going to go like that. So you can have that pocket there and that pocket, and this will also be your pocket once you're happy with what pattern you want showing. So you can also go that way. So in my case, I want to go that way. So all we're going to do now, we've got this part folded. We're going to fold this part also over. I'm going to just line these edges and fold it. And I just want this edge with this one about 1 inch higher than this edge. So you just sort of roughly, without folding all the way down. So I'm going to just say about there. So it's about 1 inch between this edge and that edge. And then I'm going to fold it. So now you've got 2 folds, one higher than the other one. This is the lower one, that's high. And then all you're going to do is you're going to bring this and place it on the inside like that. And now you're going to have that pocket, and then you're going to have this one, and then we've got this piece. This is the piece you want to cut. We're going to tear it. I'm going to tear it. You can cut it, or you can fold it and then use that as a guide on where to cut. I'm also going to fold this over 1 inch from this edge to there, roughly about 1 inch. So doing the same thing, that's the edge. I'm going to go up about here, and then I'm just going to tear it because I want to have that sort of tattered look pocket. Just tear it. If you don't want to tear it, you can cut it with some scissors. And you can see now you've got yourself the 3 pockets. You've got 3, 1, 2, and 3, and that's ready to put together. So once you've got that, you've got this part here. This is now your closure that's going to go to the front. You can now decide how far down you want your closure. I like to also go probably about 1 inch as well from the edge where I tore it. So in case I have something longer or a long tag that I want to fit in the back, there's a bit of room. So I'm just going to do the same and go about 1 inch, or I'm just going to fold it over and just sort of roughly go about there. And that's probably roughly about 1 inch from the, maybe a little bit more than 1 inch, but so that's that. So you can see now that's where the fold is, and it's pretty much nearly the same as that one. So I'm happy to do that, and we've got that. And now we're going to assemble this to close the side pockets. And to do that, we're going to grab the piece that we tore out. If you or you can use book page, anything you want. I'm going to use this so I'm not wasting it. We're going to fold one. We're going to fold it over probably 1/4 of an inch in, like that. And then I'm going to cut that off. Or I can just use a ruler, doesn't matter. I'm going to open that up, use that as my template, and cut another one. So we've got 2 pieces. And it doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same width. That's just what makes it interesting. So now we've got 2. We're going to fold that piece in half as well. So we have two pieces now, both folded in half, and one is going to get placed on this side, and we're going to glue that in there like that. And I've glued mine sort of in the middle of the edge and the fold, and then this will also get glued to the other side the same way, like that. And that's going to keep your pocket closed on the side so nothing will slip out of either side. And let's do that. I'm going to glue both sides. I've got a smaller glue bottle today. I want to try a different glue bottle. I'll take that out for now. So we're going to slide that, sort of center it from the bottom fold to the top edge, and try and get in as much as you can, get that into the side. Glue that down. We'll repeat that to the other side. Just try and get that right in the edge. Get that fold as far in as I can. So that should all be nicely glued to the back and the front. And then what we'll do next, that front pocket, I'm just going to cut across up to that fold and stop there. Do that to the other side. Work your way up to the next pocket. Do another slit there and another slit there. So 4 slits in total. Cut across there, up there, there. That way your pocket can be opened like that. And then you've got the back one. And then you've got your closure. And with this piece, you can actually use this for your closure, and maybe you could fold this in half if you want to do that. You can fold this in half to give your paper extra strength. You can glue that there like that, and then punch a hole there, and then add some trim and go around, and then you can tie it to keep it closed. Or you could add some cardstock to make it sturdy, and you can, I don't know if I've got any cardstock left around here, you can glue that to that. Let's just do that, shall we? So let's glue that. Just going to show you a couple of ideas. I should have punched the hole first, might have been better. That's okay. And then what you do is you punch 2 holes on each end, and then you thread your string, and then you can wrap that around on both ends and then tie a bow, and then you've got yourself a center decorative piece and some string, and then that'll keep the closure closed. So you can do that. So that's all there is to the pocket pouch, or triple pocket pouch, to make using my digitals or whatever papers you like. They make great gifts. So that's that. And what shall I show you? I was going to show you how to make the note card. I'll show you how I make those note cards for the journal. It's really easy as well. You don't have to use embossing paper. If you haven't got embossing paper, you can just use a music sheet, book pages. You can layer them with all the different digital prints, whatever you like. And really easy again. Just grab a piece of cardstock, whatever size you like, and I'm going to tear a piece of a book page. So I'm just going to tear it for now. Just tear that. So that's one piece that can go on the top. And I'll cut a piece from one of my printables. So I usually do 3 pieces of papers. You can just use 2. This way. I want to see the white bit that's at the back. That will go there. And then I have this one. This is an embossing paper that I try to emboss using just normal copying paper, but the embossing folder didn't press down really well, so I'll just use this one. So these are good just to keep for this sort of stuff, so I'm not wasting any papers. And that's going to go sort of like that. So you just decide you can have it there, you can keep that one in the middle. So I normally have 2 pieces of papers to layer on the cardstock. So now I'm just going to glue this whole piece. Just get the glue ready. Just place that on the top. Got this next piece. I'm just going to add some glue to the back of this one. Making these are great when you have a lot of digital scrap papers or any of your scrap paper pieces. These are great to make. So I'm just going to do that. About there. That's the back. Okay, all the cardstock is all covered now, and then I'm just going to cut out all the excess piece out. And if you have a sewing machine, you can go right ahead and sew the edges if you wanted to do that. I did use a zigzag stitch. I've also done it with a straight stitch. I've even done it and mixed it up and did a zigzag stitch and then ran it straight stitch, zigzag stitch, and alternating that, so you can also have fun with little stitching with your sewing machine. So that is that. And what I've done next is I just sort of folded over the top. So when you add your glue, don't glue right to the edge, so that you can fold these pieces over just to give it a bit of dimension and a more shabby look to it. And you can distress the edges with your inks. You can stamp the layering and add some stamping to it as well. There's so much you can do. You can keep layering and adding more layered pieces, some ephemera pieces. I've done some stamping to my ones before and that looked fun as well. You see how it looks nice and shabby now. So that's how I done that. And you know what I might do? Fold that, just because I've got this piece staring at me. I'm going to use this as a tab to decorate it. I might just put it there. There. So if I want to put this inside the journal, I've got this as a full tab. You've got yourself a little mini file tab note card if you wanted to do that. So that's all done there. And let's see. And then to make these cute little mini tags, I've got another piece of paper here. Again, just using your scrap pieces. Just use this one, that's already, oh actually, I might do this one. I want to get this yellow piece. So got that. We just cut this or tear it. With this one, you can make these in any size you want as well. We've got some real small cardstock paper, craft cardstock. You can make a bunch of these as well. I make great little extra gifts into little Happy Mail journaling kits. So what have I got? I got that. So this is just a rectangle piece that I cut out, plain cardstock, and then I'm just going to angle cut like that. Bring this piece over to the other side as a template. So I've got 2 even angle cuts. And then you can also use this tag as your template. When you make a bunch of these, you've got this part as your template, and then just use this and place this on top of your cardstock, and then you've got these angle cuts always the same. So you can do that. So I've cut that, and I'm just going to grab this and place it somewhere like that. Just going to glue just where I've done the angle cut and a little bit past that edge corner. And I'm just going to layer that on the top. And let's do the same thing. I'm just going to lift that up. Once that's dry. I'm just going to use a cheap pair of scissors for this part. And I'm just going to distress the edge by scraping the edge to give it a tattered look to the tag. I like doing that to the tags. It just sort of gives it that imperfect look to it, but still looks pretty. Or you can just ink the edge if you wanted to ink it, or just leave it as is. You can emboss the cardstock first. Emboss that before you add your paper if you want a pretty pattern embossed print. This is a really tiny heart punch. I'm just going to go in a bit there just to decorate that corner. A bit of glue, so I'm not wasting this little heart. Just place that in the center there. Let that dry, and then all I've done was I pierced the hole once the heart is dry. Pierced the hole in the middle and added some twine, and then just tie that into a bow, and that decorates your tag. I also did stitch the edges. I won't stitch this one because you can see it still looks fine. You can add some stamping and stamp the whole white part if you wanted to do that. Add some trim around there, or add some lace at the bottom here on the edge. So many ways you could decorate these simple plain tags and make it really elegant, really pretty. Yeah, just another fun, simple way to make these decorative tags. This one here, I just a charm dangle. These charms are so pretty. They really just give it a nice finished touch to your tags. I'm just going to make some more of these, maybe, and add them to my shop. I'll see how it goes. I've got so much to do. I have a lot of things I want to make and share with you, so I'll see how I go. And these flowers, I'll show you. Let's make a couple of those flowers. I made them before, but let's just make a couple now while I've got you here. And all I've done was use a half circle punch, and I used I did cut a piece of cast, so I'm just going to use it. You need to punch out a template. I'll just use this one. And all you do is to make you just want 2 pieces. Whatever 2 pieces of pattern paper you want. Oh, sorry, no, that was wrong. This is for a different one. Or what I've done was I used a circle template. Let me just grab this one and do this one. And what I've done was let me just cut this. I'll go this way so you can see. And then what I've done was I tore it following the edge of the circle shape as close as I can to the edge, and just sort of keep tearing all the way around. And I just used 2, so you want to cut or tear 2 pieces, and it don't have to be perfect circles. That's 1. Let me cut another piece or tear another piece. 2. The best way is to put all your papers together, maybe 2 or 3 pieces of papers together, and then tear it. That way it saves you from doing them individually. But I'm just going to do it for this video. I'm just going to tidy that up a bit. See, the circles are not perfect. It's more just a guide to give you that circle shape. And then I'm just going to scrunch it up. Scrunch it up. And open it up. Decide which one you want on the top. I'm going to have this one on the top. Add a little bit of glue to the middle of the back piece. Grab this piece and then just place it on the top and press. And you just need to have some centerpiece, a button, flat back pearl, anything you want as your centerpiece. You could use just some more paper and cut out a little small circle piece of paper to place in the middle. And then I'm just gonna glue that down and then just place that in the middle. Let that glue set. And then once your centerpiece is all set, just scrunch that around again. Let me place it on here. Oops. And you can see you want, and then you just glue that to wherever you want, and then you've got yourself a nice ruffled laid flower. I've got glue all over my fingers, but how pretty is that already? You can just layer that on the center like that, so it's not plain. I could even put it here if I wanted to. I could even put that there in the middle like that. I can even place it on a note card and place it there and glue that down. So you can make a bunch of these. Just punch out a circle shape and use that as a template, and then just tear your papers and layer 2 pieces, maybe 3, scrunch them up, glue them, and then you got yourself these nice ruffle flowers. So this is just some fun projects for some inspiration for you. And what I use my Floral Collage Background digitals, making these tags, pocket pouches, note cards, and also my mini journal, and also showed you how to make these really fun flowers. So this was just some project ideas for you. I hope you enjoyed this project share and some tutorials using my digitals, and I'll see you all soon in my next video. Bye for now.